All right, we are back for part 11 of Kathy Rain 2, resuming right now. I'm going to see if these two have anything to say.
Lead the way. We're here if you need us.
You've got this, Kathy.
We can just leave.
As expected, we've got a camera. Better not stay in view for long.
Do I have anything to help with that? I don't have like a smoke bomb or could shine the mirror at it. Radio is for contacting these two guys. We've got the map of the mines. Let me look at the map.
We're in the middle of this sprawl of tunnels now. Plenty of places for the bad guys to hide.
Can I use the mirror to like look around the corner or whatever?
I don't think that helps.
No. Okay. I just thought. I want to keep the revolver handy here.
That door must lead deeper into the complex.
We've got like wires and stuff up here, but I can't interact with them. We're surely not meant to leave. We just got here. Do I shoot the camera?
I guess I could, but the radio scrambler would be more stealthy.
Radio scrambler? I feel like this is the first I've heard of that.
All right, the coast is clear. Let's go.
A surveillance room.
Jackpot. Looks empty. Let's check it out.
You two go ahead. I'll scout the rest of this tunnel.
Good idea. I'll be with you in a sec. Got anything?
No Cooper, no Sharon. I've got somebody that could be Faith Cyrene, though.
Show me.
Right here.
Yeah, I think that's her. Any idea how to get to that room?
Nope. There's no map or layout anywhere.
I'll bring Tom and look for her. You stay here and keep an eye on the monitors.
Okay, call me on the radio if you need me.
Will do. Oh, and
Yeah?
in case something happens to me and Mom's here, you'll get her out, right?
Don't talk like that, Kathy.
Promise, Eileen.
Okay, I promise.
Good. Keep that radio on.
Oh, that feels like a lot to put on Eileen.
Just some scribbles from when the mine was active. We've both got a job to do. I should catch up to Tom. Faith Cyrene is still there. I better hurry. Cooper's uniform. He must be here.
I just want to share, because I don't remember if I've said this aloud, that my strong suspicion is that Faith Cyrene is Kathy Rain's doppelganger from the evil universe. But she didn't seem to comment one way or the other when she apparently just saw Faith on the monitors, which means that either she was wearing her hood or was turned away.
Looks like it splits off here.
Yes. I'll take this path. You go straight. Any sign of trouble will connect on the radio.
Fine. Take this at least.
Your famous electric weapon. What an honor.
Don't read too much into it, you weirdo.
I'll try. Be careful.
Took you long enough. I'm here to avenge my friend. Murderer. I may have killed your friend, but you killed my world. No. It can't be. You're her. My doppelganger. Thought you'd won back then, did you? In the burning woods. So you escaped from that place? The Malleable? Oh, I've been to hell and back. And Big Daddy, he is very, very angry with you. He'll return soon, thanks to us. And when he arrives, he will tear you from limb to limb. Whatever you're planning, you won't live long enough to see it. This is for Lucas, bitch.
Don't you dare harm my child, Vixen!
No, Mom. You've got it all wrong. Victor, get your useless hide over here. It's not what you think, Mom. She's fooling you.
Enough lies!
Kathy, come in. God, were those shots?
We're on top of it. Stay where you are, E.
Okay, just be careful.
So I am again thinking about using the mirror to get a vision on this guy, because I certainly don't want to stick my head up.
No time for that now. That valve must control the pressure in those pipes, but it's quite far from my position. Tom, you okay back there?
Unharmed! We should strategize before this goon gets the drop on us.
Well, I have some ideas regarding that valve to cracked pipe.
Some kind of vapor is leaking out of the pipe there.
I want to try to put a bullet in that while he throws the wheel.
That valve must control the pressure.
Okay, let's try gun on cracked pipe.
Not right now. He's shooting in this direction.
Okay, can I throw the pendant at something? She's just going to complain about what a stupid idea this is.
No time for that now.
Okay, what do we think? Oh, wait, maybe it was just that my timing was that bad.
Shit! I got a few solid hits in there, but it didn't work. The metal must be too tough.
So what do I do with that information? We could try shooting the valve wheel. I don't see how this would possibly help anything. And this feels like a waste of time.
I already tried that. Didn't work.
Right, okay. So unfortunately, I absolutely don't know. Can I reload the gun? I think that she already did it.
Already loaded.
Good, all right.
We need some way to make a plan without Victor overhearing us.
Okay, I'll use the radio.
Hey, Tom, come in. Over.
I hear you. Over.
Do you see that leaky pipe next to the elevator?
I do. Do you think it could be helpful somehow?
It might, yeah. I'll let you know if I can come up with a plan. Could you make a run for that valve?
I'll do my best. Cover me. I'll make a move shortly after we hang up.
Will do. Good job, Tom. I hit that bastard.
Yes, but let's not celebrate just yet. We've got the advantage, but we better not dawdle.
Well, we're grabbing that gun.
Empty. Guess he ran out of ammo just now.
So I'm not saying that it's super likely that he's going to come back through here and get it, but if we have no ammo, he does, and it feels like leaving this out is just leaving it where it can be. If nothing else, it's a bash, it's a melee weapon to hit somebody with.
Hey, Tom?
Yes?
Do you know Rachel Wang?
Any ideas on how to figure out the door code?
No, but I suspect we won't find it in plain view.
Where do you think that elevator goes?
I'm not sure. Perhaps to an alternate way out of the mine?
I hope that gas isn't too toxic and we haven't just contaminated the entire room.
Better keep some distance from the pipe, just in case.
That rifle would come in handy if it wasn't out of ammo.
Unfortunate. We'll have to manage without it.
I would rather hit somebody with the butt of a rifle than with my fist. All right, do we have anything in our inventory that we want to ask about? The map, maybe?
I don't want to show that to him. I don't want to
All right. Ammo box, I can't imagine. He doesn't need my pills. The cell phone doesn't mean anything to him.
Ah, this must be the same kind of mirror used in the killings?
I believe so, yes.
This affirms my belief about the murders. Obsidian has powerful mystical properties and can be used to interface with the realm of the old god.
I don't want to show that.
Okay, I don't see anything else here that we should be talking to him about.
Okay, that's it for now.
Understood. I'll be here if you need help.
Now, I want to try the radio on the door code, because maybe Eileen can find something in the surveillance room.
I can't see a reason to do that.
Can I use it on myself?
Hey, Eileen, come in. Over.
I'm here. I saw you on the monitor. Great job. Over.
Yeah, thanks. It got a bit hairy there, but we've sent him packing. Let's talk. Hey, you have a view of the keypad in here from that camera on the ceiling, right?
Yeah? Why?
Well, can you rewind the footage and check what code they used?
Oh, great idea. Give me a minute. I found the right spot, but I can only see the first 3 digits. 599.
All right, I can work with that. I don't want to ask her about that. Can you tell where that elevator goes?
No, sorry. I don't have any visuals of the other floors.
I don't want to ask.
And I don't think she's going to have anything to say about Valve Wheel. This has served its purpose.
That big valve sure came in handy.
I saw. Great teamwork.
There's no need for us to discuss him right now. That's all for now. Over and out.
$599. Do we know of any? Is it just go through the numbers? Okay. 5991. I don't know if you were supposed to figure that out like through a system. It's the most brute forcey of brute force. Except I just sort of like pushed on it with my hand.
Looks like this thing needs a special key. Guess we're not going that way.
No, this will be our escape route, I believe.
Let's go.
Wait. He's near. The Dark One. The Great Eye.
All the more reason to stop the bad guys. Come on.
I cannot. I'm sorry. I was barely able to escape him the last time.
For fuck's sake. Pull yourself together. I need your help.
This is me pulling myself together. Believe me. I hoped I could resist. Take this.
A knick-knack. Well, gee, I'm saved.
This isn't the time for quips. You are holding a selenite seal. It has purifying properties said to be able to expel evil spirits.
Sounds like a lot of wild conjecture to me.
It is not, trust me. Keep it close. You will know when to use it. Now, go. Stop them. Save your mother.
Damn it, she's here! Move aside, Mom. She's the fake one. She's the imposter.
She's the fake one? She stopped at nothing to get me out of that torture chamber. That's what a real daughter does.
Real daughter doesn't give you what you want, she gives you what you need. Not bad. Your real daughter is the one who put you in that place because it's where you needed to be. She only broke you out to use you, and you're playing right into her hands. Oh man, I don't know. A real daughter doesn't give you what you want, she gives you what you need.
No, it's not. A real daughter doesn't give you what you want, she gives you what you need.
Oh, spare me your tough love bullshit. You think you know better than your own mother? What I need is someone who shows up and actually gives a fuck.
I am aware of a timer back there. I care, Mom, but she's gonna say this. This is the one I like.
I care, Mom, but there's a limit to how much shit I can take. You raised me to stand up for myself, and that includes you.
Well, I thought you'd changed. I thought you had become the daughter I wanted.
I wish. We've always been like this. You and I, at odds with one another. And as painful as that is, I think it will always be part of our story. I'm too proud to ever beg for help. You know that. But, Mom, this time I really need you to be there for me. I really need you to see me.
Catherine? I don't understand.
Well, I guess that's that. Drop the gun, bitch, or I'll paint the floor with Mom's throat. Let her go. This is between us.
Petty fools, with your pointless little feuds. We are on the cusp of a glorious transformation!
Victor, you fucking idiot, it's too early. It won't be stable.
Quiet, Tulpa. You are nothing but a lowly familiar. The fire in my veins will bind the threshold, once and for all. And our two worlds will become as one.
No, not again. I've beat this place before. I can do it again. The cogs again. I'm back in the machine. More moving machinery. Everything shifting, everything malleable. The bathtub is drained. There's no way back from where I came.
I love that that's a concept that makes sense right now.
Everything is out of tune. It's like it's growing out of the ceiling. Looks like an altar. Is the box a gift? Or some kind of trap? Various things, all decrepit and ruined.
Oh,
Well, well, well. Look what crawled out of the gutter. Ready for a world of pain? The malleable will make you squirm, and I've got a front row seat. When I get through this door, you'll be the one in a world of pain, soothsayer. Soothsayer, huh? Don't give me too much credit. For all his faults, that deranged psycho Victor managed to stab 3 out of 6. Deranged is an understatement. Sacrificing himself like that. You think that was deliberate? No. That was just a stupid overdose. That idiot couldn't even follow a simple plan. Stabbing women was more his strong suit. Mommy issues, I'm sure. What a brute. Unlike him, I kill with finesse. It takes cunning to murder someone by a fall, to burn them alive, hang them by a noose. Why'd you even do it like that? You should know. You're the one who taught me. We may look the same, but I am nothing like you. Keep telling yourself that. In 1995, you left a trail of corpses in your wake. Wait, are you talking about the monsters in the Malleable? They're not fucking monsters. They think, they feel, they suffer. And you stabbed them, pushed them down a pit, burned everything, did this to my face. What I've brought to the world is justice. So, wait. Hanging the deacon? That was because of how Isaac Price died in jail? Penny finally dropped, huh? Good for you. You think you're sophisticated, but you're nothing but a sadistic monster. You never had a real plan, just some vague justification for your violent urges. Keep telling yourself that. Mr. Burgundy has it all figured out. Just you wait. So you're just Mr. Burgundy's obedient pet, are you? Aw, jealous. We both know you never stop longing for a daddy of your own. Poor broken girl, always searching for a new daddy to take you away. And oopsie, I took one from you, didn't I? That old fat pile of misery on the roof. You actually cared about him, didn't you? Yes, I cared. And you'll fucking pay for what you did. Oh, we'll see about that. At least you never got to slit Mom's throat, you unhinged freak. That was a ruse, you imbecile. I would never actually hurt her. I love her like you never could. I'd go to the ends of the earth for her. Why do you think I broke her out of that fucking death trap? For some demented, selfish reason, I bet. I don't trust a word coming out of your mouth. You really don't know anything. I'm tired of this. You go and have a nice torment, bitch. Come back here, you coward. I can't find a way to open that door. There's no choice but to explore this place.
I hope I can go back in. I did not mean to not open the box.
It's a box with 3 locks requiring 3 keys.
Okay, doesn't seem like much of a trap then. I usually make my traps extremely easy to spring.
Better not get close. That looks deadly. There were no buttons in the elevator, but it took me here. A statue of a robed male figure with his right hand raised in a blessing gesture. A statue of a robed woman with her hands clasped in prayer. A candelabra filled to the brim with burning wax candles. Looks like a stack of newspaper articles. Shit. Huh? What's this around my neck? Yeah, it tightens when I try to remove it. My God.
Kathy Rain, judgment awaits.
Ben Townsend? Is that you?
Benedict Townsend is with God. I was made in his image. Now, heed these words. Enlightenment leads to mercy, ignorance to doom. You may approach the first altar.
I used to have a pair of scissors and a very sharp... Oh. These are new. Victor Cooper's murder rampage begins. On February 7th, Rose Amanda Taylor, a 47-year-old psychiatric nurse, was found dead by Robert Tippett, the owner of the Azure Sky Motel. Blood everywhere like a goddamn butcher room, Tippett says, wide-eyed, and continues to emphasize the city's going to hell. You go ahead and print that. These appear to be all of our newspaper articles from before. And I don't... Oh no, there is something new here. Unlike Mr. Tippett, the murderer of Victor Cooper wasn't averse to blood. An experienced hunter like him had spilled plenty in his day. But contrary to his previous kills, this one was not for food, but another kind of sustenance, bestowed upon a greater power through a layer of black volcanic glass. And then the color text in the corners seems the same. Suicide unveiled as Faith Cyrene's debut kill. Initially reported as a suicide, the death of Eric Holloway on March 12th has been officially reclassified by KPD as a suicide. Pushed off the roof at 4 Verdun Street by a woman called Faith Cyrene. The last thing he saw before the sweet release of death was the great eye, gazing into the depths of his tormented soul. Holloway led a quiet and simple life working as a mailman for the city, but after the death of his fiancée Sarah, he fell into a severe depression that spiraled into drug addiction. Police sources told us there are links to the brutal motel stabbing of nurse Rose Taylor on Statehood Day, but were reluctant to share further details of an ongoing investigation. Yeah, significant portions of these are rewritten. There's probably stuff in the sides here, but I'm not going to pick up on them if so. Faith Cyrene gleefully kills another victim. Deacon Benedict Townsend, age 51, was found dead early on April 4th in the rectory of the King of Kings Catholic Church. The cause of death was determined to be hanging. It turns out that the conniving and treacherous Faith Cyrene had set up a meeting with the doomed deacon under false pretenses. While diligently completing each phase of the ritual, she staged the murder to look like a suicide. Now the Gazette brings you the exclusive scoop. All of the soothsayer killings to date, including Eric Holloway and Rose Taylor, were in fact solicited by the brutal Mr. Burgundy, aka Isaac Price. Not even death seems to have put a stop to this villain as he continues his machinations from the malleable. Very confused newspaper readers at this stage. Faith Cyrene burns Andrea Hall alive. Now, Andrea Hall was originally known as Jane Doe. The infamous soothsayer has cranked up the heat on her killing spree, as the latest victim, a college student in her early 20s, was determined to have been brutally burned alive on Constance Hill. The death occurred on the night of April 25th. The victim was blissfully unaware of the danger when agreeing to meet up with the perpetrator, and was unable to put up a fight while heavily intoxicated by pyre. She was too confused to even understand what the mirror held up to her face truly meant. Not until she saw the eye did she realize what horrors awaited her. Murdering somebody at a public site like this was a risky proposition for Faith Cyrene, but unlike her previous kills, it wasn't premeditated. Sure, Faith had brought the mirror and pyre, but she didn't make the final decision until Andrea stepped up and said the wrong thing, setting her off. 2 birds with 1 stone, Faith Cyrene's thought, as she shielded her ears from the screams and discovered that it is true what they say, cooked human does smell like pork. Author knows a lot about her internal thought processes. This appears to be the last one. Soothsayer targets best-selling author. So this is the one that I'm sort of the most curious about. I feel like we have a link and a motivation for every single person, with Deborah Sinclair only being a murder of convenience because Victor Cooper knew her and her cabin was close to his. At age 49, the one and only Deborah Sinclair was tragically taken from us. She was stabbed to death on May 8th in her iconic cabin. The circumstances surrounding this crime are strikingly similar to the original casualty of the soothsayer, Rose Taylor, another middle-aged woman stabbed to death in her home by the ruthless killer, Victor Cooper. Deborah was open-minded when it came to drugs, but her murderer knew she would never willingly try pyre. It was child's play for him to slip some in her tea, though. Deborah always stuck to the same routine when they had their little chats about her book, a manuscript Cooper had no intent of letting her finish. When it came to the mirror, she was all too accommodating, curious to the end, even as she saw the eye of the old god before her. She protested when the knife came, but it was over quick. This wasn't Victor's first kill, after all. Yeah, I don't know if any of this information is going to be important to what we're doing at the first altar. I hope the first altar is the one in front of me. Can I look at this?
Everything I had on me is gone. Except this. It looks like the thing Tom gave me, the selenite seal, but morphed into the shape of a bullet.
State the sacrificial pattern.
So we saw some statues on the way in. Can I look at these? Oh, this is the order of the killings. And I'm pretty sure it was the stabbing of Rose Taylor, the hanging of Townsend, the fall of the deacon, and then the fire of what's-her-face. I'm pretty sure that's correct, but then it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's a little bit too cute. Hold on. Stabbing. Fall. Wait. Yes, that's fall. This is hanging, yes. Stabbing, falling, hanging, burning. Oh, wait. How do you... And then let me just look at this.
A bonfire.
No. I just wanted to look at it.
A hanging noose attached to a tree.
I believe that is correct. Do I do anything? Does this reset? Does he just repeat, or what do you think happens here? I think he repeats what he wants me to do.
State the sacrificial pattern. You have passed. Proceed to the second tribulation.
Also, this is the library, but I like that these are graves now instead of safety deposit boxes.
Another candelabra. I can't reach it while I'm restrained by this rope. Neat rows and columns of what looks like unmarked graves. I don't think I can do anything with them.
Order the vocations of the sacrificed souls.
Well, Rose Taylor was a nurse. I'm gonna have to read through it again. Yeah, well, the second person fell, but do we know what he did? I don't remember. The student, yeah, let's just read it through. So, that's our nurse. This person was... I feel like we don't know what Eric Holloway did for a living. Oh, mailman, okay. Then we've got the deacon, student, author. Deacon, student, author. Oh, and then Tabitha.
You have succeeded. The final trial awaits.
Yeah, I'd love to do these without having to reread the details, but they gave me this for a reason. I'm not going to remember.
State the sequence of the sacraments in the ritual.
The Eye of the Old God.
So that comes just before death.
A skull, an obvious symbol for death.
Yeah, they have to see the eye before death, so I think that we can put that there and that there. And then the mirror allows them to see the eye, and then the syringe is what injects them with the pyre that allows them to see the eye in the mirror. I think this is correct.
Rejoice in your righteousness, Kathy Rain. You have seen our plight and grasped the breadth of our sacrifice. Go with God's blessing.
Looks like I can release the ropes here.
Is that mercy? I am unconstricted.
What happened to you, Ben?
The Dark One tricked me, put a taint in my drink, dulled my senses, made me obedient. I failed to see the devil in her eyes until the noose was chafing on my skin. But her betrayal was only the fleeting conclusion of a life filled with pain and loss. A childhood forever tainted by abuse, neglect, and utter abandonment. Alas, the sorrow in this heart granted no respite until its final, mournful beat.
That's horrible. I'm so sorry.
You are blameless, Minda, but be aware that the malleable is far from done with you. The only way to emerge victorious is by defeating the true enemy, the one who assumed and grasped beyond his station.
Who are you talking about?
Sadly, I'm not allowed to say. This wretched shell cannot defy its creator, as certain boundaries are out of my reach. take this before I depart for the void.
He gave me a key. I should move on. There's nothing more for me to do on this floor. It's the key given to me by Ben.
I thought these statues would be clues to something.
Sarah.
No, I'm not... Eric?
Sarah! I'll get you out!
Oh, I probably don't want to stand here.
That won't help now.
So what do we do?
Something made him stop here. It seems this area is safe. There's only a single word on the stone. Sarah. There's also a round indentation where something could fit.
It doesn't look round like a bullet, it looks round like a disc.
The stairs are completely blocked. I can't get through.
Doesn't seem like the moment. Go! Go! So, it doesn't seem like we have time to interact with any of the shards.
Static again. I keep waiting for something to appear in the frame. Boarded up and nailed shut.
He only pounds when he's directly below Kathy, so I think that if we keep moving, he's a
It's
little
all boarded
limited.
up.
I'm gonna try to lure him all the way over here if we can. Go! Go! Okay, we have shards.
It's a cracked burial urn, assembled from the shards I found on the floor in this room. It barely holds together through some strange, unseen force.
Okay, can I just want to celebrate the fact that Kathy Rain assembled this while she was running from this man. That she's very good at puzzles, much better than I am.
The shards fuse together, repairing the urn.
What's that familiar, warm light? Bring the vessel, please. I remember now. Sarah was the beginning, not the end.
What happened, Eric?
I spiraled, and then that scarred harpy found me. Oh, the drugs she brought. Oh, how well they fit in the holes my rotting love left behind. Pyre was the worst of them. It drilled through skin, flesh, and bone, cut so deep it started to scratch the soul. And now, that broken spirit fuels the malleable.
I need your help, Eric. How do I leave this place?
If I knew I wouldn't be here. I can feel the pain in every inch of this wretched body. But soon, the iron chain will grant me blissful oblivion, and I'll crawl back into the womb of the machine.
Let's just check the rest of this floor.
Boarded up and... boarded up.
Okay, there's nothing here. I will confess, I kind of wanted Kathy Rain to ask him, and what about Rachel Wang? And he'd be like, who? No idea.
It's still locked up. It seems I can't leave yet.
So...
The stairs are completely blocked. I can't get through.
This is what fused it together. We can still try it.
Huh. I can suddenly hear something rattling inside. There was another key in the urn. I'll grab that before I put it back. I guess it's time to move on. I think I'm done on this floor.
That was cool, conceptually, the glass floor and the man who is like gravity is pulling him to the underside and he's trying to pound his way through. Okay. Let's look at this first, since this appears to maybe be interactive, and I can't guess as to what they do. The fire pit is where, what's-her-face? Andre Taylor was burned, so I just don't want to screw around with the fire valves just yet.
Andrea?
You did this to me.
No, that was Faith. I'm not her.
I need you to feel what I feel. I need you to burn.
Oh, I am clicking. Okay. Am I supposed to do something with her while she's... Okay, we're turning on the sprinklers. I see now.
The pain subsides. For a time. Hurry, before the malevolence returns.
Andrea, I'm sorry for what happened to you.
Don't be. The burned girl is dead and at peace.
So you're not her?
No. I am a tulpa. A thought form.
What does that mean?
That I am a sentient construct based on Andrea Hall. An animated piece of the malleable.
Why were you created then?
Because of my significance to you. Or rather, your twin. The one who calls herself Faith Cyrene.
So Faith's presence here created you?
Yes. I was the victim of her greatest betrayal. And the fiery Punisher is my role to play.
You seem more coherent than the other constructs I've encountered in the malleable.
I was made in the burned girl's image, and she had the most brilliant mind. She just had one fatal flaw.
And what was that?
Love. That old cliché.
She was in love with Faith Cyrene?
Tragic, isn't it? Even now, knowing all the suffering, I can feel a deep longing to be close to her, even if it would mean to be consumed by her flames again and again and again.
That's horrible. None of you had to die. If I hadn't unleashed Faith all those years ago, none of this would have happened.
Those are dangerous thoughts in the malleable. Strength of spirit is the only commodity here, and doubt means death.
Help me then. What am I really up against and how do I fight it?
All I can say is, Mr. Burgundy and Faith Cyrene are both deluded, ascribing their own selfish motivations to the old god. They fail to see that they cannot understand the unfathomable, and that will be their undoing.
What does that even mean? How can I leave this place?
I'm sorry, but I cannot say, and I must leave soon. This existence is unbearable for me.
Please, not yet. I have so many questions. I'm not sure I can do this alone.
I have faith in you, Kathy Rain. Trust in your own truth, and I know that you will live to see another dawn.
Super quick, yeah, I had in my notes that Andrea Hall was an exchange student. She was a student from Australia. And when Kathy Rain had a dream about her in the pit, she didn't have that information yet. So I was thinking, well, the fact that she spoke what sounded like perfect unaccented English, that's Kathy Rain's dream version. When this one showed up and was also talking the same way, it's like, hey, wait a second, aren't you... Your dialect sounds different than I expected, and then we get this whole explanation of like, well, I'm not actually her, and I want to keep playing, obviously, but I am a little bit curious if they just couldn't source an Australian voice actor quickly enough, so that this elaborate explanation instead, as like, well, I'm sort of Andrea adjacent. We have not gotten a key, and that's been our pattern so far.
The elevator doesn't open. I'm stuck in here. There's something in the fire pit. There was another key inside.
I feel a little self-conscious when I do a room like this so quickly in the first try, but honest to God, monster comes out, I'm clicking over here, she walks into the steam and takes a knee, and when she does, I'm like, oh, okay, let me just interact with like one of the valves, and that sort of, as we're doing it, unveils what the pattern is, that I need to get her to walk into the steam so she goes down for a second and gives me time to interact with a valve, because otherwise I feel like I'm meant to sort of die here and then figure it out, similar to the glass floor.
The elevator took me back here. I guess I'm done on the other floors.
I absolutely was not putting together that 1, 2, 3 keys are for the lockbox.
It's a box with 3 locks requiring 3 keys.
Turns out you tie a noose around my neck, and I sort of forget what I was doing a minute ago. So here's the key of communion. Lament. Reason.
Lucas's revolver. Only 1 bullet in it, though. Better make it count. Time to end this.
Wait, how about this bullet, though? Can I put that bullet in?
I loaded the white bullet in the second chamber.
Oh, hold on.
It wasn't supposed to go like this. Oh, thank God you're here, Mr. B. Help me. I've done everything you asked for. I killed all those people for you, just like you wanted.
There, little thrall. It will soon be over. Alas, your time has come.
But you promised. You said I'd be the one. That the old god would... that he would make me prime. That he'd make me the real one.
Hush now. With the sacred power I carry within, I consecrate you, and I bless you.
It is time, Kathy Rain. Vengeance is yours.
You want me to do your dirty work for you? Take out your own trash, Isaac. Everything she did was because of you. You were the one behind the murders.
Of course, as was my duty. I am ever the old god's servant. Every sacrifice made his voice clearer, his will more tangible. Soon, his dormant spirit will be ready to emerge from the confines of my flesh form. And his glory will be greater than ever before. Now, stop this bickering and fulfill your destiny. End her life and avenge your friend.
No, I'm not gonna do what you want. You feed on the misery of others. I know who the true enemy is.
You fool. Nothing from the malleable can harm me.
Oh, I don't doubt that. It just so happens I brought a little present with me.
That insolent betrayer slipped you something, didn't he?
Goodbye, Isaac.
The limb of man met his end. A suit much too tight. A twisted, wrung-out malice run amok. The parasitic shades of the pulpiteers. Progenitor, progeny, have played out their parts. I grieve your present lack of voice, but in places like this, the air is not really air. Since I was shrunk by the flames, this has been a discordant threshold dwelling. When things are out of tune, everyone suffers. Consecutive translation errors, distorted directives, clad in fervor and fallacy. I come from a soul of rigid static on an endless black plain, a realm of nothing but cold and profound loneliness. Curiosity summoned me here, but it is time for me to depart. Meanwhile, a sense of obligation for your utilization. Travel liquid. I hold your hue in great esteem, for the red is strong in you. You may proceed.
Fuck. I can't believe I'm still breathing. I gotta hurry. This whole place is about to come down.
Escape elevator. Really not in a hurry, though. And I get that she just like, went through a lot physically.
Did we win?
I think so.
The threshold has been sealed shut. For good, we can hope.
Catherine,
Yes, Mom?
I'd like to go home now.
I don't think they'll let you, Mom.
That's not what I meant. Back to the facility.
That's probably for the best. Hey,
Oh, hey.
so you can probably tell what happened.
Yeah. I'm really sorry, Kathy.
I don't have anywhere else to go.
I realize that. Is there something you want to ask me?
This is already humiliating enough, E.
Maybe. But I need you to ask me properly.
Come on, E.
Did you hear what I just said?
Eileen,
Yes.
can I please stay with you for a while?
Of course you can. You're my friend, and I love you.
So, you really died for nothing, huh? All that evidence buried under tons of rubble. And the reward goes bye-bye. But hey, look on the bright side. At least the cops didn't pin your murder on me. Fan-fucking-tastic, eh?
Miss Rain?
Let me guess. The debt collector? You must be here for my organs.
Not quite. Bill Davenport, Esquire. I'm the executor of Mr. Longhorn's estate.
Good for you, buddy. I guess you'll be spending plenty of time with Lucas's sons, huh? Enjoy hanging out with those juvenile assholes.
I would, if that was part of my mandate. However, the wishes stated in Mr. Longhorn's will were different.
No, he fucking didn't.
I think we can take care of that medical debt for you. And more.
Thank you, Lucas.
It always takes me a moment when we hit credits in scenes like this. Now, first of all, I'm going to shut right the hell up if we get any additional dialogue or anything. It always takes me a moment just to think of where to start. And with this game, I think it's going to be, I really love this. I ended Kathy Rain 1 with a lot of mixed feelings, most of which I think are covered in the finale to that game. Right now, what I remember most about it, or actually the part that I want to address here, there was a lot happening in the first game. The part that I wanted to address here is when she goes into what we now know as the Malleable, I felt like that section was very abstract. It was kind of confusing. It really felt like a hard turn in the storytelling. And again, it just went on a really long time. Here, it felt much more focused, much more directed, and felt like a fitting conclusion to the story that had been set up. I was also I liked the way that this was tied into the first game, where it felt like a direct continuation. I fully understand now what it said at the very beginning. You very much want to be familiar with the first game in order to play this. It's not that you can't play this game, but man, are you going to be like, who is this man who's hanging? Even though they cover it in that very, very brief previously on Kathy Rain, it's a rare instance, I think, where I'm like, man, if they wanted to make this more accessible to newcomers, they needed to make that recap from like 2 or 3 minutes into like 10 or 15. I mean, it really would have needed a lot more. But I think that that's to encourage people to play the first game, which they should. I enjoyed the first game a lot. I loved this one. This one is an improvement in every respect. I feel like the mystery was more elaborate. I felt like it, even though we're still researching it's not really a cold case, but it's this serial killer that's still on the loose. A lot of the murders happened multiple months ago, and Kathy is tracking down to different leads, and some of them go nowhere. Orson Taylor, who was Rose Taylor's husband, he is an entry on the notebook until he returns Kathy's call and tells her to go fuck herself, in which case she just erases it, which I really liked. You know, that is a lead that ultimately goes nowhere. Not everything in Kathy's book leads somewhere. Also, was there a single character at any point that responded to questions about the King of King Cathedral or Rachel Wang? Because I don't remember that ever coming up. Every single person is like, well, I think I might have heard of that cathedral, but no, we're Protestant. No, we're, my family's Jewish. Like, it just never... I like the fact that there's things in Kathy Rain's notebook for which they wrote and recorded dialogue to basically say, this question isn't going to go anywhere because, no, of course I don't know Rachel Wang. Oh, hold on. Is she just leaving? Is that it? Yes. Okay. I feel like that makes it feel more real, because the game doesn't just cull out topics of conversation that go nowhere. It allows you to ask about those things just so that you feel like Kathy Rain is covering all her bases. And therefore, when on the rare occasion when it didn't, like I remember that I commented at one point, she has this picture of Victor Cooper, and she will ask people, do you know somebody named Victor Cooper? But when I tried to show them the brochure, she's like, oh, I don't really see the value in that. No, Kathy, I assure you, speaking as somebody who really struggles with names and is more likely to recognize a person based on their physique or their hairstyle or something else, showing them the picture of Victor Cooper would be much more likely to elicit a point of recognition from me than just asking me somebody's name. But that's that. There is one thing about the writing, and it really came into full focus there at the end. Either I missed the dialogue, like the dialogue scene, the option that you can click on or something, or it is not in this game. What specifically happened between Kathy Rain and Eileen? We know that after the first game, Eileen didn't remember a super amount of what had happened in... Is it Caldwell Springs? If I get the name, sorry. Her memory was kind of vague. She and Kathy remained friends. They opened Rain investigations. Things didn't go well from a business perspective. And now Kathy Rain fires Eileen. But that's all the information that we get. Kathy Rain absolutely seems like the sort of person that would, rather than sitting Eileen down and talking to her and having a heart-to-heart to say, I can't make payroll, I'm so sorry, we have to find you a new job, that Kathy Rain would invent a reason to say, oh, you're fired. I feel like Kathy Rain is the most comfortable when she's kind of pissing people off or being the bad person. I feel like that's where her natural inclination goes in terms of interacting with people, that she doesn't hold herself in very high esteem, so she is at her most comfortable if other people don't like her very much. It's a rough read. It's just sort of a general feeling. So it makes sense to me that maybe she would have fired Eileen, but what was that conversation like? I'm just so curious what the reason was, and we don't get a lot of clarity on it. And I was prepared to accept that up until Kathy Rain shows up with her cat in carrier on a rainy night to Eileen's doorstep and says, "You can probably tell what happened. I don't have anywhere else to go." And Eileen makes her stand out in the rain and say, "I need you to ask me properly." Because absent the information, since we don't get to see that scene, we can imagine it was very hurtful. It was very painful that Eileen felt really betrayed and hurt by the fact that her friend was firing her. But that didn't come up when Kathy Rain was in the hospital. It didn't come up when when Eileen goes to help her out and spends, as far as we can tell, Eileen just straight walks out of her job at the Gazette, and she helps to crack the phone, and she's there at she goes into the mine, she's risking her life. Remember that the last time that Eileen went out on a case, did any sort of field work with Kathy Rain, it was real bad for her. And Eileen had no problem with any of that, which we can accept as her understanding that she's trying to help catch a serial killer and that this is really important. So why, after reconnecting with a friend like that, does she make her stand out in the rain and, I don't want to say beg, but she does have to ask that she makes Kathy Rain say the words, "I really need someplace to stay. Can I stay with you for a while?" And it's like, you can put together in your head what happened between them, but all of the parts that we see in this game does not feel like it's leading up to that. And I don't know, it's not really a complaint, but rather, man, it really, really makes me want to have a flashback where we get to see when Eileen was fired. I've just talked a lot about that, but it just happened, and I'm like, this feels needlessly harsh and heartless from Eileen, that now that Kathy Rain is at her absolute lowest point and she needs to do the thing that she is constitutionally the least prepared to do, go to another human being and saying, "I'm desperate, I need your help, I cannot take care of myself, I need your help, please help me," that Eileen wants to sort of bask in that for a second. And since that basking is not part of Eileen's character in any way, it makes it motivated out of a real sense of hurt for what happened between her and Kathy. I need to stop talking about this topic, but that last scene was rough, because you never get the sense, at least I don't think that Kathy Rain is the sort of person that if Eileen lost her apartment because she quit her job at the Gazette, that Kathy Rain would make a big deal out of it. Like remember when she was staying at Kathy Rain's place, Kathy Rain says, "Do you want the bed?" Kathy Rain would have been perfectly comfortable sleeping out on the couch. At that time, there was no reason that needed to happen. It could have been assumed that Eileen was going to go home. But Kathy Rain's a fairly decent person and said, "Well, do you want the bed? Since you're helping me out, do you want the bed or whatever?" I don't know. I can accept that there's a lot of friction between Kathy Rain and Eileen. And also, since that friction was never manifested in any way except the backstory that we don't get to hear, and then Eileen was so ready to jump on and to come back to Rain Investigations and hack the phone and everything else that we just talked about, it just felt a little bit surprising when it came up a little bit later when Kathy Rain was at her absolute lowest point. That's all I have to say about that. Aside from that, I really, really, really enjoyed the puzzles. Like, I'm so sorry that I talked about how I loved the game and then sort of leapt into that part from the finale. I loved the puzzles in this game. I think I mentioned in one of the outros that detective game is really more of like a framing device. It's like, oh, the main character is a detective. The story is predicated on I am somebody who is trying to solve a mystery, but then what that means could be any number of things. You could just pull out a ninja sword and go butcher people until they tell you what you want to know. Anything can be a detective game if it's just about a detective. Judgment is a detective game, and it plays out wildly different from this game, which is reading newspaper articles, talking to people, comparing notes, showing them inventory items that you find as part of your investigation, and gradually connecting these dots until you understand the soothsayer is a serial killer who is addicting people to pyre, which is a brand new street drug, made up of the red scythe flowers that we encounter in the first game. They're being now grown and cultivated by Tabitha Caldwell, who also manufactures and crafts these. I think Tabitha crafts them herself. Forgive me if I'm wrong, I might have forgotten a detail there. But she has these obsidian mirrors. They addict the person to pyre, inject them with it, show them the obsidian mirror. The pyre and the obsidian mirror combine their eldritch capabilities, whatever we want to say, that shows them the red eye, and that sort of feeds their soul into the old one that helps to juice up this threshold, which is going to reopen the portal from the old one's dimension back into ours, something that previously existed in Caldwell Springs, but now he's going to open it up in Cassidy, which is, they never really talk about this, but a much more densely populated area. The threat to humanity is exponentially worse in this urban environment compared to this small town out in the middle of nowhere. So I just really liked the plot. I liked how well it tied into the first one, and I liked the fact that the very brief plot summation that I gave came about by gradually connecting these dots, forming this web of different characters and how they interrelated, what their points of connection were. And I guess I would have liked it a little bit if the connection of Pyre specifically, my memory is that that was provided to Kathy by Logan, and it gave Logan a reason to be in the story, and they very much wanted to have this former mentor of Kathy Rains in there, where she didn't want to work with him. She wanted to prove herself. She wanted to make her own way in Rain investigations, but still felt comfortable comparing notes with another PI who she very much liked and respected, and it seems even looked up to as sort of a father figure. And just from a storytelling standpoint, if not for Lucas sharing that piece of critical information that all of the Soothsayer's victims had this connecting point of this street drug called Pyre, I don't think that Kathy Rain would have come near to the end of it. Without that piece of information being handed to her in a trade from another PI, it feels very much like she would have been just cast adrift. So I think just from a storytelling standpoint, I would have liked it if Kathy came about, how about this? If instead of just having that detail handed to her, Lucas had part of the clues, and then Kathy had the other part, and then together they realized, oh, the connecting point is Pyre. Because I obviously don't object to Kathy Rain getting information from other characters. That's a big part of the play, of the gameplay. It's the fact that this one critical central connecting piece came from another character who, it was a trade of information. It just felt like an awfully critical one because, let's face it, the information that Kathy Rain traded back to Logan? I hope it's Logan. If I've called him Lucas at any point, again, not great with names and I apologize. None of that information did him any good. I also wanted to highlight two things. I really like the animated scenes. I don't remember them being nearly as prevalent, the cutscenes that they do in this game. The one where Kathy Rain discovers Logan on the roof when she opens it up, and it does that cutaway on one side to her eye widening. I liked when she was hanging upside down, the Mr. Burgundy showing up in her bed. They always feel like they come out of nowhere and also are completely appropriate to this moment where the game really wants to make sure that you are fully engaged in this. And I thought that it was super well done. It reminded me of what I liked about Hobbs Barrow, which was similarly very sparing in the cutaway cutscenes that it would do. And when it did it, you really felt like you had accomplished your way into a new point in the story. Also, hey, those pills never really came up, or if you were supposed to take them at some point, I failed to do so. She got those pills to help out with her, if I call it it's a hematoma. So if I ever say aneurysm, no, that's a brain bleed. This is brain pressure, it's a hematoma. I like the fact that she got knocked out when she got hung upside down, which the doctor had specifically said you need to avoid having huge blood rushes to your head or anything like that. And then when she comes to, here's Tom Ward who has cut her down. There's certain scenes where, not really a criticism, it's just I like the animation in this game so much that I would have liked to have gotten a cutaway where we got to see Tom sort of like cut her down. Like, presumably he was able to arrange it so that she did not land directly on her skull. And also, I don't quite know how he would have done that, because it's not like he could have wheeled a table underneath her and then laid her down gently. So how did he cut the rope? And I don't know. It would have been cool to see that. And there's other like little moments where I feel like animating in this pixel art style is very expensive. It takes a lot of time. They have to make cuts sometimes, but just small moments, like you don't get to see Rachel Wang go back into her apartment. It cuts to black for a moment, it comes back, she's no longer present, and the door is closed. I understand why they do it, and in a perfect world, I just like to see all the little animation flourishes that they do, because when they do them, Kathy Rain kneeling down to pick something up, Kathy Rain like waking up on the floor and like getting up, Kathy Rain in bed and she hears something, just those little moments where you get to see the character in something other than her walking animation, they always feel special. And probably because there's so few of them, I would just like to see more of those. Finally, the voice acting in this is excellent. I want to say that Tom Ward was interesting, but I also feel like the actor's going for something very specific. This is a returning character from the previous game. He is psychologically and emotionally traumatized by what he was doing on behalf of the old god for so long, and therefore I think that his delivery is very intentionally odd. I think that that's a deliberate choice and not a failure in any way. And also, in fairness, I didn't pick up on it when he was talking at significant length about Deborah Sinclair, which now we know why he was so exhaustively versed in every part of her life. When she died, rather, he would have taken the time to learn absolutely everything that he could, a luxury that he had because he's working at the library. So in retrospect, that makes a lot of sense. And there was nothing odd or unusual about his delivery there, which is why I think that the greater the role that he plays in the game, the more unnatural he sounds, and I think that's very much a choice. It was so great to see Eileen again. It was so great to see Kathy Rain again. I like the fact that this game takes place 3 years after the events of the first, which both gives them some space from those events and also allows you to see where they are now in life. Again, I would have liked a little bit more fill-in about what happened between the two of them, but what we get is you get to see them now having moved on from college, and now they're full-on like young adults living on their own, paying rent, not living with each other, and you just get to see how their lives have progressed, and the parts that you don't get to see you can mostly fill in, and I thought that was super cool. It's interesting to me that you can tell that because the same actor, and I missed her name in the credits as I scrolled by, you get the same actor playing both Kathy Rain and Faith Cyrene. That actor is capable of more than I feel like they allow her to do in Kathy Rain, and specifically, as Kathy Rain. And what I'm specifically referring to is Kathy Rain witnesses Logan get shot. She gets on her motorcycle and she's so angry, like she's so amped up. You're not getting away from this. And she's even like trying to shoot her gun while riding the motorcycle, which is, I mean, you might as well just crash immediately, which is then what happens. And then as soon as that's done, and Kathy Rain has just like been in this car accident, but she sort of wakes up in this quasi dream sequence, like it's clearly not real, but she's perfectly flat again. Like she's 100% Kathy Rain all the time. It doesn't even feel like she's particularly disoriented. And yet, you know the actor can do it because she does it at other points. It is interesting to me that they have a very talented voice actor to play Kathy Rain, and it feels like they very deliberately and thoughtfully tell her, play Kathy Rain kind of very even-keeled, which anger and disorientation and grief and maybe some sort of euphoric disconnection from the events, these things would all be appropriate, and you just don't get them in that moment. And then you get to hear the same voice actor as Faith Cyrene, where she's so angry, she's so bitter, like she has all of that in her. And I think that maybe part of it is they didn't want Kathy to sound too much like Faith when you actually meet Faith. It's so odd because they are very literally the same human being. Faith Irene is a malleable clone of Kathy, but it's the only reason that I can think of that they would have asked the voice actor to just like, hey, just continue on as though nothing's happening. Kathy is the sort of person that even when things are getting to her, she pretends like they're not. And also just don't insert anything into your vocal presentation that would make it seem like she's sort of barely keeping things together. I don't know. I'm reading a lot into it. It's just when you can hear the actor cut loose with it and like really be emotional, you're like, yeah, so she can. Why don't they let her? Why don't they let her? And for, I'd say, 85% of the game, it wouldn't be appropriate because Kathy is, at this stage in her life, a professional investigator. She's working a case. She has a sense of urgency because she needs to make rent, and also there's a killer out. And as the details of the case become more clear, she realizes that she personally has a role to play in this because were we meant to believe that she felt surprised by discovering that Faith Cyrene was her doppelganger? Because even if I hadn't been thinking that from a relatively early point in the game, the dream sequence that she had where she held up the mirror and then the mirror image of herself like cast that like rictus grin and one side of the mirror caught on fire, almost like she had burn scars. It just felt like the game was pointing in that direction, and I felt like surely Kathy Rain, who is a very incisive person, she's very discerning, she would have picked up on this, and yet I couldn't tell if she was genuinely surprised because she was like, no. And that's a terrible rendition of no, by the way, but I feel like it's she suspected it deep down, and it still wasn't until she actually came face to face with herself, with this twisted, evil, scarred version of herself. Can I also note, I love the fact that the hair was completely different. It was shorter, it was much more, when I say manageable, I mean just this, Faith Cyrene is not someone who's going to put a lot of time and effort into managing her appearance, into taking care of her hair, into dyeing it the way that Kathy Rain herself does. And at least my memories in the first game is she was a perfect clone, probably because she had been being created right at that moment. But now you get to see that clone 3 years on, having recovered from the injuries that Kathy Rain inflicted on her, and her life has understandably spun off in a different direction. And it's not just putting a goatee on Spock, it's that, like, her hair is completely different. I just like that detail. And again, I just like the vocal presentation that you get from the actor, that you get to hear a different version of Kathy Rain, one who is more emotional, one who is more driven by rage and spite. I will finally say here, because I think we're at the end of my comments, I am very curious what would have happened if we had plugged the white bullet into Faith Cyrene. Would we have gotten an altogether different ending, or would it just have cut to white and it goes back like when Rachel Wang jumps off the roof? So bummed that I was so bad at that. I said at the time, there's a particular kryptonite in video games, and talking people off of literal ledges is one of them. If that comes up in a video game, you can expect to see a game over screen follow very shortly thereafter, or whatever form the failure is going to take. Finally, and this I think is the last thing, there were points in this game where I got almost impossibly lucky. One of the ones that really stuck in my mind was when I was really out of leads. I couldn't figure out what to do. Kathy Rain is in her office, and I'm like, well, I don't know, screw it. Let me call Eileen. And then after I call Eileen, I realize, I can click on things in the environment and ask Eileen about things that I can't ask about at the Gazette. The drawer is stuck. And now I suddenly remember that Kathy Rain had specifically mentioned that Eileen had the key, the secret to opening up the stuck drawer. At which point we find, what was it, the scissors? I think it was the scissors and the 2 markers. And then it was after that I went to the cabin. It was a bit later, and suddenly I need the scissors to pry up the obsidian shard. If I hadn't had that kind of random conversation with Eileen, I feel like I could have gone to the cabin. The obsidian shard is jammed in there. I have no idea how to get it out. At that point in the game, why would it occur to me to like call up Eileen from my office? I could have gotten stuck there for a good long time. And I just like, and then in this episode, running away from Andrea Hill, the part where he was pounding on the bottom of the glass, I failed once, but then got it very quickly the second time. And it's like, and then with the puzzle on the altars, those all seemed like fairly straightforward, and yet I would feel like, I don't know, it makes me self-conscious when I'm doing something that does have an instant failure state, and I sort of do it. Oh, and the cop, remember the cop? I think I talked about this earlier. When the cop was coming into the cabin, and I thought to relock the door and hide behind the couch, like, I will tell you straight up, like, there's a whole Slumdog Millionaire thing here, where there's another game that I don't want to mention here right now because I don't really want to spoil something, where you can buy yourself a few extra seconds by locking the door. So when the cop was coming up, it was like, and like I just panicked. It was like, lock the door, hide behind the couch. The fact that those happen to be the correct things to do, just random happenstance. But when you do it on your first try, I feel a little bit self-conscious about like, oh boy, are people going to think that I'm just like looking things up in the background? So that's why I feel a lot more comfortable when I do get like truly stuck. That part where we were trying to crack the police codes in Logan's office, and that is presented in its entirety, because although it felt very frustrating at the moment, I want both viewers and, on the off chance that a developer of the game ever like watches this, to realize I am paying attention. I am legitimately engaging with this puzzle. I even talk out loud, and I'm like, I genuinely feel, I knew that the code was either going to be dog event, because dog watching was in his calendar, or much more likely that it was setting up a meeting with JK, because it was perfect for JK, for that code. And yet I just physically couldn't figure out how to interact with the puzzle. And I'm going to tell you straight up, 99% of other players are going to click on that dash line. They're going to see that it lights up, because I did look back at that episode. When you move the mouse cursor over the dash line, it lights right up. It is very clear, if you're looking at that part of the screen, that is someplace that you can click and type. And for whatever reason, I think it's because when I held down spacebar, there was no like little diamond down there. I just didn't see it. And it was the point in the game that I had to look something up. The reason that I'm comfortable showing all of that in its entirety is also, I believe, it is an absolute fiction that people play a game like this and just don't get stuck. And there's going to be somebody that really gets stuck on, how do I get the cigarettes for mom? Because it might not occur to them, red plus blue equals purple, which is, can I Slumdog Millionaire that as well? I knew, like, I wasn't sure until I tried it, but it immediately occurred to me, red plus blue is going to equal the purple pack of cigarettes that she needs, and that came specifically from the Alicia Vikander Tomb Raider movie, because there's a very awkward line in there where she shouts out, "It's a color puzzle," and it's just so odd that that's what she does to like explain to the audience what the puzzle is in this life and death situation. And I always remember now her screaming out, "It's a color puzzle." So red plus blue equals purple, and I was thinking that in my head when I was just like scribbling with the markers to make the pack of cigarettes purple. Somebody else might not have seen that Tomb Raider movie, so they might not think about color puzzles, and it might just not occur to them to ever use markers on the cigarette. Other people are going to get stuck. How do I get the obsidian shard out? Oh, remember the dusting of the fingerprint off of the shard? Again, watching 8 million police procedural shows, since that's the only thing that CBS has shown in my entire lifetime is just police procedurals. You watch somebody lift a fingerprint off of something using regular Scotch tape enough times, it automatically comes to mind when you have randomly and for no apparent reason taken a spool of tape off of Eileen's desk at the Gazette. So the fact that I thought to do those things and they wound up being correct, somebody else, I guarantee you, got stuck at that point, and then they had to look it up. And I think that it's very important that people in general realize sometimes you'll have a game like Kathy Rain 2 where I played this game all the way start to finish and I had no problems, except I couldn't figure out how to write down in the notebook, and I had to look it up on NeoSeeker, and they had a comment about like, use your keyboard to type into the notebook. And then I was like, where? Oh my God, there. Oh, it's the one part of the screen I never clicked on. And suddenly I was able to mechanically interact with the screen and then go forward. And the other part that I really got stuck on was, I was briefly stuck on, who was her name, Marla Stone or something like that. I just didn't know who to ask about that. And just through random trial and error, finally found a way through that. But those were a couple of points where it's like, I generally know what I'm meant to do. I'm just not sure who to ask or where to go about it. And then worked our way through. So yeah, man, sometimes you get stuck. Sometimes you'll do something that you'll fly right through it so quickly that it won't even occur to you that somebody might get stuck there. And then you'll get stuck on it. You'll get stuck at a different point and you'll see somebody else be like, oh, that was easy. What are you talking about? Because to them, it just immediately came to mind. No, man, both things are perfectly valid. And I think that a major part of sharing a game like this is to show it as it is. And when I do get stuck, hopefully I get to offer a little bit of constructive criticism on what might have helped me not get stuck. On that notebook thing, Kathy making some sort of comment about, well, she does say something like, I need to write it in the notebook. So I really feel like putting the interaction diamond specifically on that line and maybe having Kathy, I don't know, note that I can make a note here, down here. I don't know. It feels weird to get stuck, and then you want to be able to explain how might you improve it. And the one thing is really just having that interaction diamond there, because they seem a little bit haphazard in that particular scene. But that's it. Yeah, I end where I began this section. I thoroughly enjoyed the first Kathy Rain, and I think that this game feels like it's much more confident, much more competent, much more assured in what it's doing. And also, this might be the very last time that I have to ever discuss that I've only ever played Kathy Rain, the director's cut from the first game. After finishing that, I was curious, and we went and looked up some videos on like what was different in the original Kathy Rain. And a lot of it is technical, where you just get some black bars on the side, because the original release was 4x3. I mean, they really leaned into this is a adventure game style from like 1995. Like, they really wanted to go with that, so it was a 4x3. Maybe not the most popular choice, so for the director's cut they made it widescreen. That's the version that I played, and that's what it was. The other thing, and obviously I didn't talk about this at the end of the first game, the ending is completely different. It's so different. I might have talked about this at some other point in this playthrough, I don't remember, but there's a ghost that shows up, there's a whole other character. It's completely different. It's so different that, having never played the original version, I can honestly only hypothesize on all the things that might have changed and why they might have changed it. All I can say is that, having at least watched it vaguely with only limited context for what even was going on with this ghost and stuff, I do think that the version that I played was substantially better. And also, as I talked about at the end of that playthrough, delved into some very sensitive topics that I don't think really served the game or the author's intent well. And I was very curious going into this game if we would see any doubling down on that, and we didn't. So it's not worthy of consideration. Let's talk about Kathy Rain 2 for the game that it is, and it was great. I really, really strongly enjoyed this game, and it makes me all the more enthusiastic for Kathy Rain 3. I will say here, for Kathy Rain 3, whatever it might be called, if they chose to terminate this storyline here, because it does feel like the old one is done. I'm done. I'm finished here. Here's some travel liquid. You know how to use that, right? And I'm out. It feels like that is the end to that story. I would be very comfortable with that. And if the next Kathy Rain game is not called Kathy Rain 3, but Kathy Rain the 2000s, I don't know. Kathy Rain, the same generation, but 5 years later. However they decided to do it, I would like to see this developer try their hand at doing a game that doesn't have any sort of arcane supernatural aspect to it at all. Because I think that they have the writing chops to do it. I think that they can do a very good murder mystery or mystery in general that doesn't rely on that. And I'd love to see them do that. Also, if they did choose to do Kathy Rain 3 and to round this out as a trilogy, the competency and... I'm just going to go with competency with which this game was put together would make me so excited to play that, because if I had known where this game went, I might have had some misgivings based on the fact that the supernatural elements of the first game were like among my least favorite parts of the game. But here they were done so much better. I don't know. I feel like it's time to move on from the old one and the red side flowers. But if they have another story to tell, I would not only be willing to, I would be enthusiastic to play it. That said, I would think, hey, maybe time to move Kathy Rain onto a new case. And even if it is also supernatural, that's fine. I would say just, it's okay to reach into some new territory here, whether it's set in Cassidy or someplace else. And man, I hope that she patches things up with Eileen. Final thought, because there's one character about whom we never spoke. Josh is so fucking weird, guys. Like, that whole thing where... What did he do? He ran a print for Kathy Rain. Internal Affairs found out about it. Now he was on, like, unpaid suspended leave or something like that. Okay, Kathy Rain takes place in a very fictionalized world. For example, in the real world, we don't have red side flowers and old gods, at least not to my knowledge. So things can obviously work differently there. I simply do not accept that the consequences for Josh professionally, personally, or otherwise would amount to anything other than, like, he not only gets cleared of all wrongdoing, but gets back pay for all of the days that he missed. Like, I just don't see it. He ran a print pertinent to a murder case. It just isn't that big of a crime. And for him to then show up, like, completely soused, plainly demanding a physical interaction with Kathy Rain. I don't know. That was so weird, and it was the one point in the game where I was legitimately surprised that Kathy Rain didn't push back much more forcefully, because he was dead ass wrong. I'm sitting here, I am paying rapt attention to every interaction that she has, and there was nothing on the table. There was no implication of anything on the table. Even if there was, it's inappropriate for him to follow up and ask. If she's not into you, and you know that, like, bro, what did you even do? You helped her solve a murder case. Aren't you a police officer because you give a shit about innocent people? I'm sorry you got in slight amount of trouble. I'm still mad about that. It's almost hard that I forgot to talk about it until this point. But yeah, no, Josh sucks. Fuck that guy. And I was briefly worried that when Kathy Rain stepped up at the end there and knocked on the door, I was worried it was going to be Josh. I would have been so angry if she had gone to try to stay with Josh after what went down between them. If Josh, I'm telling you guys, if Josh is not in the next game, I think that that's for the best, because Kathy Rain should never talk to that dude again. What a fucking asshole. That whole scene made me very uncomfortable. I didn't like where it was going, and I would have liked it if Kathy Rain was like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm trying to solve a case. I'm trying to save lives. If that's inconvenient for you, or worse, if your boss is really so angry at you about running this print that is directly pertinent to this case that he's going to suspend you rather than putting you on the case because now you've proven your ability to come in with evidence. Oh, I'm still so mad about that. We're going to stop talking about Josh now, because that was real rough. If that entire scene with Josh showing up at Kathy Rain's office had just been cut from the story entirely, nothing would have been lost, and I feel like the whole tone of the game would have been a lot better, because the fact that was even pitched by another character was ugly as shit. We're done with Josh. And partway through that, I did think of one more thing, and then we really want to wrap up. Since I can't think of it right now, I think that we will call it there. Yeah, there's always something that you forget, and that's just the way that it is. But no, absent that, for any feedback that I gave here on various ways that I would have liked to have seen or improved the game or thoughts, or the one point that got stuck, come away from it with this reaction. This game was great. I really, really enjoyed it. It's the sort of thing that makes me enthusiastic to play other adventure games. Spoiler alert, have not played Whispers of a Machine. That might be up next, because I've really enjoyed the now 2 other games that I've played from this developer. So yeah, maybe stay tuned for that. That is going to call it, though, for our playthrough of Kathy Rain 2 Soothsayer. Big thumbs up. If you're watching this, then you've probably just seen the whole game, and I don't know if there's a lot of alternate paths or whatever, but I will for sure be recommending this game to other people in general, and also other adventure game fans, because, like, in terms of updating this formula, this model for a more, like, modern audience, where don't give us ultra cryptic moon logic puzzles that no human being could ever figure out, but rather give us things that sort of make sense. Red plus blue does equal purple. Whether or not it would fool mom in the mental institution there for the color of her Rockport Royals, I don't know, but at least you can see how you might arrive at that, and did pretty much immediately. Anyway, we'll call it there. Thank you guys so much for watching our complete playthrough of Kathy Rain 2 Soothsayer, and we will see you guys again for more great playthroughs as we go. And until next time, you guys, thank you so much, and I hope you have a great night.